Iran has a new supreme leader. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's son, Mojtaba Khamenei, has been made Iran's new supreme leader. But that's not the real news. The real news is that as soon as Mojtaba Khamenei became supreme leader, Iran launched a barrage of missiles at Israel, and reports have come in that this attack even destroyed Netanyahu's bunker, which was considered the safest. After this, there has been widespread discussion around the world about whether Mojtaba is desperate to avenge his father. After the Iranian missile attacks, loud explosions have been heard in several Israeli cities. Air raid sirens are continuously sounding in cities like Tel Aviv and Haifa. People have had to flee to bunkers. Panic has spread throughout the cities. Several missiles have hit their targets precisely. This new wave of missiles has brought life in Israel to a standstill. By March 9th, at least 13 Israeli civilians had been killed and around 2,000 people injured in Iran's retaliatory attacks over the past week. However, this is the official figure. In reality, the numbers could be even higher. In fact, just a few days ago, Iran's president had apologized to Gulf countries for attacks on them. But then the IRGC made it clear that wherever there is an American presence, they will target that location. This means that in the absence of the supreme leader, anyone could say anything, but now all decisions will be made from one place, making Iran's messaging clear to the world. With Mojtaba's arrival, Iran has started targeting America and its bases throughout the region. Iran's IRGC forces have launched missile and drone attacks on several military bases and oil pipelines located in Gulf countries and around the Arabian Ocean. So far, Iran has targeted at least 27 American and Israeli bases in the region. Even before Mojtaba Khamenei became supreme leader, the Israeli military had openly threatened that whoever became the new supreme leader could be targeted. When Mojtaba's name came up, the Israeli military went live on TV and even threatened members of Iran's Assembly of Experts, saying that if they chose a new supreme leader, they too could be targeted. Trump also said that Iran cannot choose a new leader without America's approval. Trump stated that if we do not accept Mojtaba, he will not last long. However, many experts believe that Mojtaba Khamenei's stance is even tougher than his father's. He holds an even more aggressive outlook against Israel. That is why, as soon as he became supreme leader, Israel and Netanyahu have found themselves in a difficult position. Meanwhile, leaders and media inside Iran are openly coming out in support of Mojtaba, have rallied behind him. Iran's foreign minister Abbas Araghchi has said that all citizens must unite to save and advance Iran. That is why immediately after Mojtaba's arrival, the wave of missile attacks began, and with the open warnings issued by America and Israel, it can be said that tensions in the Middle East have now increased even further. Iran has found its next Khamenei. But what is it about Mojtaba Khamenei's background that makes Israel and America so afraid of him? Let's find out. On March 8, 2026, Iran's Assembly of Experts officially announced him as the new supreme leader of Iran. This is the same religious council of 88 members that, according to Iran's constitution, is responsible for selecting the supreme leader. Despite the wartime situation, the Assembly of Experts held a meeting and appointed Mojtaba as supreme leader. Although, due to the war, the meeting could not be conducted in the usual manner, Mojtaba was still accepted as supreme leader based on everyone's consensus. But if we look at Mojtaba's background, he was born in Mashhad. He completed his secondary education at Alawi High School in Tehran. After that, he began studying theology and went to the famous seminary in Qom for further religious training. In the late 1990s, he studied with several senior ayatollahs. Later, he also started teaching at Qom's Dars-e-Kharaj, which is considered the highest level of Islamic law. Interestingly, unlike many of Iran's top leaders, Mustafa has never contested any election nor held any government position. Instead, he worked in his father's office for decades. He was a powerful figure who ran the country from behind the scenes. It is said that during the Iraq War, he joined the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps, or IRGC, and became a member in the final stages of the war. Over time, he built very strong relationships with the Revolutionary Guards and the clerics. Several reports say that he used to advise his father, Ali Khamenei, on important decisions, especially those related to the power network of the people. By the early 2000s, he was considered a major power in Iranian politics. Many leaders accused him of influencing several elections. In addition, he is said to have played a key role in suppressing the protests that followed the 2009 elections. Speaking of his family, Mustafa is the second son of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Just this February, his family suffered a heavy loss. According to reports, in that attack, his mother, one of his sisters, and his wife, Zahra Haddad Adel, were killed. Zahra Haddad Adel was the daughter of Iran's former parliament speaker. Mustafa also has 3 children. Compared to Ali Khamenei's other sons, Mustafa was the only one who had a clear interest in politics and was considered the next supreme leader. In fact, Ali Khamenei himself used to say that whoever becomes the leader after him should be someone whom the enemy hates, and since Western countries do not like Mustafa, he fits that criterion. Besides this, Iran's Revolutionary Guards had been trying to promote Mustafa for many years. He is the favorite of the IRGC. However, there were still a few other names being discussed for the Supreme Leaders list, such as Ayatollah Ali Reza Rafi, former President Hassan Rouhani, or even Ayatollah Khomeini's grandson, Hassan Khomeini. But the assembly of experts had already sidelined many of these people. In reality, many experts say that from the beginning, Mustafa was considered the front runner. His supporters argued that in a wartime environment, the country needed a leader who could immediately take charge. And everyone agreed that at such a time, only a trustworthy insider could handle the country. So all in all, Mustafa Khamenei becoming supreme leader is not surprising. He never contested an election, but because he had been present within the corridors of power for decades and had an image of being hostile to Western countries, he was ultimately chosen as supreme leader. Friends, the question now is what Iran's future will look like after Mustafa Khamenei becomes supreme leader. Most people believe that his coming to power will further strengthen the grip of Shia Islamic forces in Iran. Mustafa is considered a religious conservative, and that is why it is said that he will continue his father's policies. However, some people also say that after his arrival, Iran's system has started to look less like an Islamic system and more like a monarchy. The original principles of the Islamic Republic are seen as being set aside. However, everyone knows that during Mustafa's era, the power of the Revolutionary Guards and security-related institutions could increase even further. He is said to have very close ties with IRGC commandos, such as his association with officers like Hossein Taib. In addition, he has kept a close watch for a long time on several old warfighting networks and factions. That is why it is believed that during his era, the military and security agencies will remain at the center of power. If we talk about foreign policy and security policy, it is believed that Mustafa Khamenei's stance against Western countries will remain as tough as before. For a long time, he has been considered a leader who does not trust America, and he is seen as a supporter of the axis of resistance ideology. Therefore, it is not expected that under his leadership, Iran will suddenly start making deals with Western countries. On the contrary, with war already ongoing in the region, under Mustafa's leadership, Iran's attitude towards Israel and the Gulf countries could become even more aggressive. This is why some senior Iranian leaders have previously said that the country's leader should be someone whom America and Israel hate. Now, if we look at the economic and social situation, Mustafa is taking power at a time when Iran is under a lot of pressure. War and international bans have significantly weakened Iran's economy. He will be under pressure to somehow hold talks for economic relief, because any leader will certainly face the dilemma of whether to focus on the welfare of the people or on ideology. However, considering the people around Mustafa, it is considered unlikely that he will soon return to the path of negotiations with America and Europe. He faces major challenges such as inflation and a sinking economy, but in the beginning his main focus will be on further strengthening preparations for war and improving the country's internal security. President Pezeshkian has said that Mustafa's leadership marks the beginning of a new era of honor and strength for Iran. Iran's state TV has already started portraying him as a battle-hardened soldier and a scholar of Islam. Old videos have also been shown in which he appears on the battlefield in his youth, and it is claimed that he knows English and has received training in military science. Government officials say that everyone from the IRGC to all other groups are devoted to the new leader. They have already accepted him as the new supreme leader. However, the international media is viewing this matter from a different perspective. Several newspapers have said that Mustafa does not have the religious understanding that is usually expected of Iran's supreme leader, and he has never contested any election. Therefore, some people are saying that the system of this Islamic Republic appears to be weakening, and this system is gradually, slowly turning into a kind of monarchy. From the perspective of the entire region, the new supreme leader has so far chosen to respond to Israel and America rather than bow down to them. Iranian officials have rejected calls to stop attacks on Gulf countries. In response, those countries have also issued stern warnings. Saudi Arabia intercepted Iranian missiles and drones heading toward its oil fields, and its foreign ministry clearly stated that if attacks from Iran continue, Iran itself will suffer the greatest loss. Many countries around the world have also appealed for de-escalation. China has called on all sides to stop targeting civilians. However, for now, there is no indication in Iranian media that the country is about to change its strategy. Overall, most people believe that under Mojtaba Khamenei's leadership, Iran's policies will remain strict and the IRGC will become even stronger, and Iran stands in the midst of war, now commanded by an insider who must handle both the war and the country at the same time. What do you think? Will Mojtaba be able to teach Israel a lesson? Let me know in the comments. I read your comments thoroughly and also reply. So whatever you think, be sure to write it down.